What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Stereotherapy. I'm your host, Lisa, and this is episode 120. Today in the show, I was joined by hosts G and Kate from the Cosmic Cadence podcast. This was such a great conversation because anytime I can showcase a podcast that I love, I am so excited because especially when it is one that I think is doing something different. I think the thing that we see the most in the podcast world is the oversaturation of us. I mean, I'm guilty of that too, having a podcast in that. And I think instead of just interviews and reviews and talking about these elder emo records, they really take a unique look and basically decoding the cosmic vibes of all of our favorite records and the people that bring them into our lives. And I think that's something that they say at the beginning of all their episodes. And I think it's a really good starting point because once you hear that, you're like, okay, what am I getting out of this? And at the end of the episodes, you're almost like, wow, like I really love this record. I had no idea there was more maybe to these records. Whether it's Turnstile, The Academy Is, Lady Gaga, Paramore, they have discussed probably one of your favorite records or favorite bands. So I think it's a really cool, unique take they're doing. And I really wanted to highlight them. And I thank them so much for coming on. We dive into also being two women working in the music industry. It was really something to hear the journey of loving music and then wanting to basically, music gave them everything. They wanted to give back to that same scene that really gave them a lot. And I could really resonate with that as well. We talk all about how music was an aid to their mental health, why they started this podcast, any obstacles. This was just such a great conversation. And I can't thank G and Kate enough for wanting to come on and kind of do this collaboration. So I'm really excited to introduce you to them. But here is my conversation with G and Kate from the Cosmic Cadence podcast.
Hey,
Thank you.
thank you for
We
having
appreciate
us.
I'd love to have you guys kind of introduce yourselves and like, what is your podcast? Like, what is Cosmic Cadence?
You want to start?
Yeah, I was like, it's harder when we're not in person to like
I
give
know.
off the energy of like who's ready to jump in. But
Yeah.
yeah. So I'm G. I am one half of the podcast hosting team for Cosmic Cadence. And then Kate, do you want to intro yourself?
And I am Kate. I am the other co-host. And I guess it's kind of funny. So to give some backstory of how this concept came about. So G and I worked together for quite some time. I think like 7 years in the music industry. And it was funny because we bonded over our love of music, but also later on in life, we both realized we were into astrology. We're both Scorpios, so we bonded over that. But it was funny because we would be at like work dinners or whatever, and somehow astrology always came up, and we started guessing people's signs, like talking to them about it, and we would almost always get it right. So we were
Yeah.
like, huh, that's funny. Like, there's something here. We should do something with this.
Mhm.
And so we always kind of knew we wanted a podcast, but you know, it can be hard to start. I think that's sometimes the hardest part. But one thing that we were thinking about was like, it might be harder if it's always a guest. So how else can we bring like music and astrology together? And I don't know if you remember, G,
Yeah,
like,
so
the exact way it came about.
So kind of to your point, we were also tired of just like the dudes with microphones. We're like, look, like we work in the industry, we're women in the industry. Let's try to tell that story. Let's talk to other women in the industry. Let's get the voices that aren't normally heard. But the astrological spin on it could be what kind of makes it different. And we can like go through birth charts and like talk through their career highlights and how it correlates to what their chart says about what's going to happen in life. And to Kate's point, we were kind of like, that might be hard to get a guest every single time. So as a backup, I was kind of like, what if we did an episode kind of assigning a birth chart to an album? And it was like, yeah, cool. That'd be great to have. It's like back burner, filler episodes, whatever. And we got to a point where we were just like, okay, either we start doing this or we're never going to do it. So let's just film an episode. And we filmed our first episode, which was Paramore, All We Know Is Falling. And once we finished that, we both looked at each other and were just like, wait, this is the podcast. Scratch the guest idea. Like we'll have guests to talk about the albums and all of that. But like the base of it was now dissecting the birth charts of albums.
That's so cool. That's so awesome to like, and I remember that was your first one, and it's wild to think like, what a one to start with too.
It was crazy because like as we've gone on too, though, like the accuracy for some of these albums and the energies behind it is just mind blowing, honestly. So we didn't know what we really had when we were starting, but now we're just we constantly we finish an episode, or even like you'll see if you watch the episodes,
Yeah.
like the look of pure shock on our faces when it's actually right. We're like, so
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what's so cool. Like when you get to watch it too and see that, because I always wondered, like, I know nothing about astrology. I'm like, I'm Aquarius, but I'm like, I don't know anything about it. But it was like even diving into when you did Turnstile, I'm like, how many people probably don't even think about that? And like you take a record like that, and then it's like, wow, there's so much maybe more to this than maybe like, and again, it's hard because even how some dudes are with Turnstile these days and like
Mhm.
women and like I love that you chose something like that because it was like just the climate these days. If I post anything Turnstile, it's immediately like, okay, you only like low on or you only like this. But it's like to hear you kind of dive into that or like the Academy is you've done, Lady Gaga. I mean, there's so many cool records. I'm like, this is really, really, really cool. Like I think it's cool to dive into that aspect of those records versus what even like we do or other people like here's just a review or this is why we like it. No, like there's something more to this record. And it just that was so shocking to me. Some of those things you would find, I'm like, this is really, really, really cool. So
It's shocking to us.
yeah, and you can tell, like you said, you can tell, like you guys, it's not like you have some script, like this is what it's going to be, like, and that's what's cool about it. Like it's almost like the real time factor, like of, hey, look at this, instead of like, hey, here's some like Wikipedia thing that like some people pull up on podcasts or whatever. And that's cool if you do that, but like you dive deeper. So I appreciate that so much. And it makes me want to like look into me. I'm like, what is Aquarius? Like, what is my thing? Like,
we
what
gotta do
is
your
this?
We
chart.
can do it.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, yes. Oh
Maybe
my
that's
God.
the end of this podcast. We'll go through your chart. But
Oh my God.
I did want to say on to your point, like
Yeah.
it's kind of funny because with the, the industry and music scene in general can be kind of split sometimes, and especially
Yeah.
for, G and I growing up in I was an emo kid and whatnot, and it was kind of that thing of you didn't always feel like you belong because it can 100% be a boys club, and it's like I like this music too genuinely, like I just want to be a part of this. And it's funny though with astrology, so like our back end statistics and even the feedback that I've gotten, like it's actually a lot of males and like my male friends that are like, you know what, this is so cool, thank you for doing this. And I think men just don't want to admit that they actually are interested in astrology, so that's kind of, that's not our main goal, but it's definitely a goal of like we want to make it cool for everyone to get into astrology because it just helps you learn more about yourself, and you don't have to like follow it to a T. We're not here to be like, if this says this, like that's it.
Right.
It's just kind of a guiding light
Mhm.
and it's helped us understand ourselves better, so it's like why not look into it.
Yeah, that has to be it. Yeah, this is for sure. Like I do find that even in my podcast, some men, even like with the mental health aspect, like when I don't like the common misconception with our podcast too is like that we're just a mental health pod. And I'm like, no, we're not. Like we look at the intersection of how music aids our mental health. And once I get some guys on here to tell them like that's what it is, like that's what we're talking about, they open up and they're more accepting,
Mm-hmm.
almost in the same way of like, oh yeah, like I can do that. And it's like, yeah, I love that too, that we're similar in that way. We're in a different, it's different, but you're also like kind of changing that, hey, like it's okay, even if you're a guy and you like this. And I
Mhm.
mean, yeah, like I feel like there's a podcast coming out today I did with like Emo Kids Anonymous, and they had me on talking about the differences between men and women in the scene and even podcasting and this. And I'm like, oh, I'm probably gonna be like not canceled, but like I was truthful. And I mean,
Yeah.
for you guys, what do you think, before we dive more in, since you're here and you're in the industry and this is such a rare opportunity for me, what do you guys see on your end besides like the obvious? What are the obstacles you often face in the industry as women?
Well, it's funny that Kate spoke to like when she was younger,
Mhm.
feeling like, hey, I belong here too, guys, because unfortunately it doesn't go away even as an adult in the industry. It still at times can be a boys' club, even when you're in a room and you're like, I work with this artist, I know this band, and you kind of have that imposter syndrome of like feeling like you don't quite belong because you're not in with the what I
Mhm.
want to say I'm not going to say, let's
Yeah.
keep it clean, but you're not in the clique, so
Yeah.
that's an obstacle every day. It's funny, like Kate and I will be at shows sometimes, and like literally in recent memory I was just like, I want to say hi to the band but I don't feel like I can just walk back there and say hi. She's like, you literally are their product manager, like just
Mhm.
go.
Yeah.
But like I was at a show and I was just like, I don't feel confident enough to just walk back there and say hi. She's like, you're the product manager. Like, why do you feel that way? And I kind of stood the whole show just like, why do I feel this way? Like if I was a dude, or not even if I was a dude, like I saw other people from the team that happened to be men just walked back there like they own the place, you know? It's like having that mentality is so hard, and it's an obstacle that needs to be overcome because even though we're women, like we belong just as much as the men do. But it's definitely a mental thing of trying to overcome that mental battle of like, no, I do belong here despite what the world is trying to show me.
Yeah, that's the hardest thing too. And although I'm not as in the industry like you guys, but I definitely, it's almost in like your pitches too. Like when I make it to a podcast, and I was just saying that, like, where I know the music, I love the music, I'm for the right reasons, but for whatever reason, being a woman now, like even as a young girl, how do I approach this and let them see that, like, yeah, this is an all woman hosted podcast. And like, I do know my stuff. I do take it seriously. And it's just like, but I'm like, why do I have to like think that? If I was a dude, I would just sit there and like, okay, I would love you to come on my podcast, or, and not even think, oh my gosh, what about my follower count? What about like, how am I, being perceived on the internet? Like, what does my image look like? Does it look enough? Like, and it's hard. And it's even like we had Anthony Green on here, and that was such a huge moment. I love him so much. And it's like I even had him say basically, I love what you're doing. I'm so proud of you. I love, when your voice is needed. But
Yeah.
even that, I was like, that's not going to be enough for anyone else. You know what
Yeah.
that's a weird,
Yeah.
it made me so like, and anyone else around me is like, why are you just like second guessing yourself? You are someone that you had that your favorite artist of all time, and you're still second guessing yourself.
Yeah. It's so
Why?
frustrating because it's like you shouldn't need the outside validation, right? But even when you get it, it's like, oh yeah, it's nice, but like there's no way he really means that. That's not, it can't be me, not about me. But it's like they wouldn't just say it if it wasn't true. So you have to take that in stride. And it's something I struggle with too, of like not depending, and Kate as my witness of like I'll be having a bad day, feeling really down on myself, and then someone I look up to says a nice thing, and then I'm on cloud nine. But it's like I shouldn't need that to feel good. Like I should be validated in my own experiences and knowing my worth and knowing that again, I belong just as much as everybody else. I don't need that outside, like, no, yeah, you belong, kid. Because sometimes
Hmm.
the actions don't match the words.
Yeah, I definitely can relate. It's like it's kind of like the default. I feel like men in the industry do have it easier, and it's kind of like if you're a woman, you do have to make more of an effort to be seen, and that's just frustrating.
Yeah.
I should be able to show up as I am, which like you should. But I will say, like in general, I have gone through a lot of therapy and I am definitely, I've worked on a ton on myself, and that's something like even right now that's relevant to me of really, as much work as I've done, I think with you for your entire life, really, is like, why do I need external validation? But it really is about filling your own cup. And I'm quite proud of this revelation I had, so I'm going to share it. Hopefully it helps other
Yeah.
people. But it's kind of funny because I've been on this really deep healing journey for like 5 years since the pandemic, which I feel like the pandemic really, kind of started that spark for a lot of people. And I was getting frustrated because this past year, I feel like has been one of the hardest years of my life. And I'm just like, I did all of this work. Why is this still happening? Like, I thought I got over these things. And I was really getting down on myself about it. But then I realized this metaphor came to me of kind of being in a video game. And it's like, if you think about a video game, you're going through different levels. And what is the last level? The last level is you versus like the biggest, baddest bad guy that's in the game. So I related that to myself of like, oh yeah, it's not that all of that work I've done is washed out. Like it's still there. Those are all of the other levels of the game. Now it just feels harder because because I've done all of that work, I'm now on this higher level and I'm facing what I would assume is like, my shadow self, which is probably the hardest part. So I guess I say that to say it can feel sometimes like you're just like what happened? Like I did all this work. Why am I at square one or whatever the term
Mhm.
is? But it's like, no, that's still in you. Like you did do that work. It is validating, but it's just you actually leveled up and now it's only harder because you're gonna level up even more. And they always say, what's the phrase? Like it's darkest before dawn. I feel like I said that to a friend recently, but I really think that's true. Of, life can, I mean, me and G talk about this on our podcast as well. Like, even just having a podcast, you do want to show up and there can be this pressure, sometimes to be like, yeah, everything's good. But we try to be honest of like when it's not because it's surprising. Like we have, this podcast, it's been a thing for almost a year, not even a
Mhm.
year, but we've already had to like skip episodes and whatnot because of our mental health, So it's like
Mhm.
a very real thing.
Yeah, that was something I had to learn too. Of like last summer, I had a moment where like my mental health was just so, it was not good. But here I am, music and mental health, and having to hop on and learning that like it was okay to take those breaks and it was okay. And yes, like I was getting so many people, like whether it was like a PR agency or someone's like, hey, so and so recommended me, and like all these great things where I was like, that's great. That's amazing. I'm happy to be recognized. However, like I am struggling right now. I cannot sit on here for an hour or whatever it is and talk mental health with you and just front, oh, that's really, and but then sometimes when I did power through, which maybe wasn't the best, some of those conversations were like, I needed that. And that person, I was always honest too, of like, listen, I had a really bad morning. Like I am not with it, but like you helped me and I learned that I helped them. But it's learning doing a podcast that one, it's a lot of work, like you guys know. Like it's a lot more work than just like, here's a microphone, let me do it. And it's one thing you do have to check your mental health sometimes doing it because you can get overworked. I've done it too many times where I'm like, why did I do this? Why did I schedule myself that? Like again,
Mhm.
like me trying to prove, oh, I can do this. I could take all this on. But I'm like, oh my God, I'm like on the couch, like dying before I go on. Like that's not me presenting my best self. So I think I love that you shared that kind of revelation a little bit because sometimes you are going through those really great moments and then you can still really be struggling too, like after that.
I
Yeah.
hope so, yeah. Well, I will say, I very much appreciate G because we are so similar, but also so opposite. And I think that's
Yeah.
what has helped me. Like, truly, like we all need each other. And I'm definitely that one that's kind of like go, 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 and
Yeah.
she'll
Yeah.
remind me to slow down. But I think we need that, like the opposites in each other to make it work. But to your point too, I feel like when I'm having a bad day, sometimes I have to remind myself, like, have I gone outside or talked to someone today? Because I can like really isolate
Yeah.
myself. And I think that, like G, you've said this about me as well, because, bring our astrology into it. I'm a Libra
Yeah.
rising. G has a Libra moon, but my Libra rising, like, I love people. I love learning about people. And I think people really energize me. So sometimes that can be at odds with my Scorpio sun because my Scorpio sun is so like internal, So
Mhm.
it's kind of finding that balance, I guess, for me.
Yeah. I go back to the time we tried to power through and record 3 podcast episodes back to
Never
back to back
again.
in one day. And we
Oh,
like stopped after the third one and literally was like, we can't do this ever again. We had to
yeah.
sit in silence. I like saged my apartment. I was like, okay, we've learned. It's like and like you said, like sometimes you do push through and it's for a reason and it ends up being better on the other side. And sometimes you push through and you gotta sage yourself after.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I can relate to that. Oh, yeah. I never saged myself. I never did that after, but maybe I should have looking back. We did like a back to back back like once and I was just like, yeah, never again.
Or
I
again.
I can't. But obviously too, and I love talking about all that stuff, but I want to bring it back to almost like now you guys, you're in the industry, you have this podcast. What started your kind of journey in falling in love with music? Whether it was a type of an artist, a record, or maybe even a concert. Like what made you realize like this is really special to me?
For me, it was the one thing I like had complete control over as a kid. So my parents were very great and never like restricting what I was allowed to listen to. So I grew up in a house where like my mom would be playing Tupac and like salsa and all of that, and my dad would be playing Biggie and all the stuff. And we had a radio in the room, and my pastime would literally just be sitting there and like trying to record and make mixtape. I'm literally aging myself so bad right now, but like using the radio to like record onto cassettes and creating my own
Yep.
mixtapes and stuff. But the first artist I remember like clearly having an attachment to was Aaliyah. I don't
Mhm.
know what it was about her that I just felt like this deep connection of like one day I'll get to meet her and we're gonna be best friends and I'm gonna be a singer too and I'm gonna do this thing and just like fell in love with that. And as I got older and kind of started listening to more stuff on my own, the next big like aha moment for me was Paramore playing The Sims, hearing the song in Simlish, not realizing it was a real song until I saw the video on Fuse, and then I was just like, this is a real band. I need to know
Yeah.
everything about them. And just kind of went from there. Like I was never the kid that like wanted to be the doctor or like fireman or whatever. Like all I knew was music. All I cared about was music. Like I would spend weekends just watching music videos.
Mhm.
But the older I got, the more I realized I had terrible stage fright and I'm super shy. So it's like, okay, maybe I can't be the star. So what can I do to work behind the scenes? So went to school and did all the learning of like how the industry works and whatnot, did internships, and then ended up working for a major label. But it was the only thing I ever really wanted to do outside of being a wrestler, but that's for another podcast.
Oh my God. Oh, my fiance would love that. He loves wrestling. Like somewhere he's listening like wrestling. Um, that's amazing though, because although it wasn't Paramore for me, it was like Fall Out Boy, where hearing them and being originally from Illinois in the suburbs and finding that like wow, you can be a part of something and help it grow because they were so small and then obviously they took off and they're ginormous now, they're everything, but it was like wow, I can do that. And I went to school and originally like, for music business, but like I didn't finish it out because I was like, I'm going to be in so much debt and I'm going to do this. I can figure it out, which I never really figured it out after. And I probably should have stayed in that. But that's wild that like what can take you and like you can find your place. And I love that that was Paramore because yeah, they were so special then and they're so special now. And I love them so much. And what about you, Kate?
Funny enough, my answer is also Paramore. I tell this story often, but literally it was Riot for me. Like I still picture this exact moment of I was probably 16 on the floor of my room, just like right in front of my speaker, blasting Riot, and I was like, this is life changing.
Yeah.
I was flipping through the booklet and I saw that the album came out on Fueled by Ramen, and I was like, whoa, like all my favorite bands are on Fueled by Ramen. Like, I want to work there. And I had literally zero connections to the music industry, no idea how it worked, but I just had this feeling of like, that's where I need to be. And years later, that actually did come to fruition. And it was a great time. And it's just very special, that I feel very lucky that I knew exactly what I wanted to do because I know that's almost a gift. Not
Yeah.
everyone gets that. But for me, that's the thing. Like I mean, to this day, I just cannot picture myself working in anything but music because music is what helped me find who I was, my people. Like it just, I felt so understood by music in a way that I couldn't have by like people, around me.
Hmm.
I mean, now I have found that, but when I was younger, it was very hard and I felt very misunderstood, which I feel like, is probably a pretty common experience for teenagers and whatnot. But it was just finding this community of like, whoa, like this is my place in life. And I always wanted to work in music because I can't play music, or at least I can't play.
Yes.
I will say not yet. There's always hope. But it was like I want to give back in a way to help this music and message get out to more people the way that it helped me. Like I just want other people to find that like I think everyone has songs that change their life, and I like help you see things in a different perspective. So it's kind of funny. Like one time I used to have anxiety about, is there a song out there that I haven't heard yet that would change my life? Like, what if I never hear it? But I
Mhm.
think I've now come to terms with, I think songs find you when you need them. And I mean, that's happened for me too. Songs from years ago that you find 10 years later and you're like, it doesn't matter that I came out 10 years ago. I still love this song. So
Hmm.
music is just so powerful.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Fueled by Ramen. That brings it back for me because that was one of the first times for me. Now, I wasn't working for them, but I was part of the street team. So I did like I think it was what was it? It was Eric Charles. I think he
Yeah.
was doing it.
Shout out Eric.
And I remember getting those emails, whether it was like for Warp Tour 2005 with Fall Out Boy, and getting sent. And Paramore was one of my first boxes that I was sent. And they're like, there's this band to promote. And I think I heard Pressure, or maybe I didn't. But I had the box of like stickers and stuff to pass out. And they were playing like the Beat Kitchen in Chicago, which anyone not knowing that venue, I think is like 250 or like 300 people max. Like it's tiny and it was cute is what we aimed for. I want to say Hit the Lights. It could be wrong. Paramore, or no, it was This Providence. Paramore, cute is what we aimed for. And it was so tiny, but like just getting to pass out like the stickers to people. And again, like just like it's almost like you were saying, Kate, where like you're giving back to what music gave you and that's how I feel like even with my podcast I'm able to now do that because like music gave me everything. Like it's given me my fiance we met because of music, like friends, people you meet on like the internet that you're now like sitting on a podcast with, and like music is just I feel that so much because it's so important. And we need people like you guys that you feel that way with music working in the industry because you know you're going to bring so much more. There's someone then is just doing it because, okay, this is my job. This is my role. Like, no, you feel it and love it so much.
And we talk about that. You'd be surprised how many people work in the music industry
Yeah.
and they will tell you straight out, like, yeah, I don't know,
Yeah.
music doesn't move me. And we're like, how?
Yeah. I had a
You're like,
coworker tell me that and I was like, how are you working here? What is going on?
Oh my God. Yeah. I couldn't admit, like, that was always like my dream. I was like, I want to work and I want to work for a record label and I want to do this and be that person to find it. But then, like, when I was in school for music business and learning, hey, this is really a business, like, there is a business aspect, like, I got nervous because I was like, I don't want it to ever make me feel like I'm doing it for the wrong reasons or I start to not like music. And I'm sure someone maybe down the path, like, if they've taken that career, they maybe have been met with that. I can't speak for myself because I never made it that far, but for me, it was like that was always my biggest fear, where I was like, I don't want to tarnish what I love about music because it's like we have to do this, you have to do that, and it's like, no, I don't want to have to go through that.
No, you're literally speaking to my current existence. It's a fight every day. Like they say in marriage, right? Like marriage is choosing your partner every single day. Like
Yeah.
working in something you love and are passionate about, it's choosing that every day. It's fighting to keep what you loved about it pure to you, despite what's going around or going on around you. Because, like you said, it is unfortunately a business, but something that like part of why Kate and I are such good friends now is because we bonded over that, like wanting to keep that purity of like, no, we're here because we love the music. Like, yes, we work in a business, yes, we work in the industry, but it's not about that. It's about getting these amazing artists the platform they deserve, getting the music out there to the fans that need this music. So every day it's hard because it's like I don't want to fall out of love with the only thing I've ever loved.
Mhm.
And you find the moments where, you know, maybe it's stepping away from the bubble of, okay, I'm listening to all the artists I get to work with. Let me listen to something I'm not working with.
Mhm.
And you find it there. Or let me go to a show that I don't have to go to because it's work and you find it there. So you do things that kind of bring it back. And if you do those things and it doesn't reignite the spark, then it's a signal of, okay, maybe it is time to find something else. But so far, knock on wood, I've been very lucky to like remove myself out when I need to, go and search the other places and have it reinvigorated every time.
Yeah. And yeah, it sounds like you two are definitely people that are needed. Like they are needed in this industry because I hear all the time from some people too that and young bands that are out there, they want to work with people that truly are in it for to help them and not just see them as a number, you know, especially the up and comers that are like looking for PR people or working like looking for a label and they want to see like what is that? Like I don't want to just be a number of like, oh, here you go. And it's like I'm always like, I wish I could help you, but now I could be like, you know, listen, I know two right there that are doing what you want to do. They do exist in this industry. And obviously we've talked about music making impact, finding your place, which I resonate with so much. Is there a moment in your life that music has helped your mental health, whether it is an artist or that song that you needed at the right time? Do you recall anything in life that music was that aid to your mental health, where maybe you tried like everybody says exercise, just change your diet, go outside, which is great. They're all great things. I need that too. But how has music made that impact?
Well, I feel like there's so many for me. Like it's actually hard to pick one. And I could go in so many different directions, but I'll give you the one that popped into my head first, which was a very emotional moment that I don't always talk about, but I feel like I've come to more terms with it as I've gotten older and, you know, hopefully this helps other people. But for me, it was Paramore's Brand New Eyes. It
Mhm.
was 2009 and my dad had just passed away and that was a very also isolating experience for me. But hearing the energy and like that album isn't, I mean, I guess it's about loss in different ways, but I just remember a specific moment hearing All I Wanted. And granted, it's not exactly about that, but just it was exactly what I needed in that moment. And to this day, I credit that song with like, it saved my mental health, 1000%.
Yeah, I'll go with two only because again, Kate and I are very similar in some ways and very different in others,
Yeah.
but Brand New Eyes was an album that definitely got me through a very difficult time in my life as well. Not to the same sentiment as Kate, but other things that I won't go into on this podcast.
Yeah.
But another one that kind of popped into my head was when I was about like 12 or 13, the song Hold On by Good Charlotte. I was going through a very dark phase. I wouldn't say I was full on suicidal, but it definitely had those thoughts of like it would just be nice to not exist anymore. And like hearing that song kind of did something to my brain chemistry. Like I remember sitting on the edge of my bed waiting for the video to come on and like because I think it had just come out as a single, so they would play it very on the hour on like the music video channel. So
Yeah.
I'd be like, words come on, and like every time I heard it, it was like, okay, no, there's reason to stick around, and like it will get better. Just hold on, you know. So there's a ton more I can think of, but those are the two that I keep close in my heart.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Good Charlotte. Like, I have such a love for Good Charlotte. And I know a lot of people are always like, oh, well, look at them now and their music now. I'm like, listen, Young and the Hopeless, that
Ugh.
record got me through so much. Hold on. That was one too. Like, I can still, like, as you're talking about it, I remember the video and like the rain and he takes the mic and he's like, and then they have the imagery of, um, all the mental health, and just hold on, and just I think they had the suicide hotline on one of them, but they had something, or maybe it was the message in the beginning. I remember there was
Mm-hmm.
something, and how powerful that was. And again, I can't speak for myself and say, I was that far at that point in my mental health, but I was just like, wow, this hits. Like if I was, and even just as a teenager going through normal stuff, it hit. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and then now going back, it's like that song was, I think, one of the first, at least for me. I mean, besides, I guess, like Adam's song, like Blink, that I was like, wow, they're singing about deeper things here instead of just their, girls like boys they do and stuff like Good Charlotte. But I
Mm-hmm.
think Good Charlotte really paved the way for mental health awareness even back then. And yeah, I love them so much. And I know they're like making like little announcements here and there. I'm like, we need like a little tour. We need something like from you guys. I don't know what, but we need the resurgence of Good Charlotte. That would be wonderful.
Yeah, it's time. It's like long overdue.
Yeah. Oh, and it's kind of Paramore. That's such a big one, I think, for so many. I know for me, Fake Happy, that was one. I know a lot of people are hit or miss with After Laughter, but like me, Fake Happy, that hit so hard for me during a time. And I was like, wow, like I'm not going through what Haley is going through directly, but I can see myself in it. I feel it. And anytime I'm going through it, I put Fake Happy on still. It's still like my
Yeah.
go-to, like I need to play this. And she's another mental health trailblazer because like she recently started really talking about what she was going through and you hear it in their music. You hear it in their new one and it just
Yeah.
oh, I love Paramore. So I'm glad that you guys are bringing up Paramore because anytime I can just
Oh,
talk Paramore, I'm like they are everything to me. I love them so much.
same. I used to joke, I'd be like, for every like key moment in my life, there was a Paramore or Haley Williams album to kind of coincide with it, which has been very helpful navigating this life.
Yeah.
But also kind of funny of like, oh, if they're dropping something, prepare for a major life event.
Oh, right. Yeah, exactly. Like even their last one, like hearing songs like off their This Is Why, Crave, like hearing
Yeah.
that song for me, I was like, again, all the TikTokers or like the keyboard warriors, they're like, this sucks or this. I'm like, did you listen to this record and these lyrics? Like maybe you're not as broken as I am right now at
Yeah.
this moment, but like it is so good. It is hitting me in all the right places. And I think they want Paramore to be that riot forever like that. And they're not. They grew up and I mean Haley's now in her 30s, she's going to write about different things. And Riot's great. I loved it when it came out. I still love it, but I know I got in trouble on TikTok because I did like a rating of Paramore records and I put it a little lower because I was just like Brand New Eyes hits more for me or
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
We're too random.
Like,
Brand
because
New Eyes is number one.
yeah, I think that's what I put was Brand New Eyes number one. And they're like, why is Riot so low? And I'm like, listen, I love all Paramore records, anything Haley Williams touches, but for whatever reason, like just Brand New Eyes hits After Laughter, like these like depressive, happy songs hit more for me right now. I don't think it sucks, but people were like immediately like, "Oh, you must be a new fan, or you're someone that's like, you're what did they? I forget what they or that I was rage baiting or like." And I was just like, "I am not." I am not. I swear to you, I'm not that person. Not on TikTok, not ever. Like I
Yeah.
just, this is what I think. But I think that's what's so cool about music is you could have a different take of a favorite band and like that's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Um
I will say your take is correct because Haley herself has even said Riot is not their best album. So
I think
Queen has spoken.
I think I come to that after finally somebody saying something or whatever. I was like, listen, I just saw a tick or interview or TikTok or something popped up with her saying that. And I said, see, if she says that, you guys leave me alone. And it's I think I've learned by now to be very like careful with what I put about Paramore ever because like people, whether they love it or hate it or Haley Williams, they come for you. But I love her. I heard she's gonna do some of her solo shows maybe at some point because they got canceled with COVID. And I'm
Mhm.
like, please just come here, but also don't be like $500 a ticket. Like that would be great. I know she doesn't control
Yeah.
that, but that would be great. And even talking about like the music we loved and got us through, are there any newer bands that you're listening to in the scene to maybe like if you could steer somebody towards a band maybe they're not listening to? Because I think for me, a lot of times you get trapped in that like nostalgic bubble where you're like, I love these bands. But is there anyone else you're currently listening to that you're really resonating with lately?
Yeah. Kate, I'll let you go first while I gather my
Yeah.
I'll let you go first. Okay, so this actually hits hard for me. I will say, I will admit, I think that there's great music out there, but I have really been struggling the last year of like, I just don't know if I can connect with anything the way that I don't know. It's just like the older music. I think bands were taking more risks and there's just something special about that. And I'm sure it's, like a nostalgia factor, but I will say it's been very hard to find something that hits to the level that that music did. And again, I think it might be a nostalgia factor. So I do have to think of
Okay.
I
I'll
do,
tap in. I'll tap in.
Yeah.
I got between three and five that have come to mind. The first one is Meet Me at the Altar.
Mhm.
Um, I was lucky enough to work with them, but before I started working with them, I had seen them kind of floating around online and was like, "Ooh, what's going on with this band? They're kind of cool." And the more I got to know them, the more I just felt such a connection of like, this is a band I wish existed when I was younger. Because it's like living vicariously through them of fulfilling that dream I had of like being the star, being in a band, but not having the guts to pursue myself. And lyrically, their music is so relatable and it's kind of scary sometimes because they're so young in their 20s and I'm like in my 30s and I'm like I still relate to this, you know?
Yeah.
So love them. Another one, not necessarily in the pop punk rock scene, but SZA has been
Mhm.
game changer for me. The song 20 something when I first again Paramore is the tie end all be all for everything. I had been familiar with SZA, but never sat down and listened to her until I saw the clip of Haley doing a cover of 20 something. And I was just like, what are these lyrics? Let me check
Yeah.
this out. And then I went and I listened to Control and have been addicted to SZA ever since. Turnstile's another one where I've been listening to them for years, but especially in the last couple of years, like their records have just they've been number one artists on my Spotify for multiple years because
Same.
like it just hits. It just I don't know, it just resonates with me. Even though their music is very open to interpretation, like the way I interpret it, sometimes it's just like I need that to kind of soothe me. Those are the three that come to mind. Another one I can drop out there, Games We Play. He has a couple of songs like on his debut album. He had a couple of songs that I was listening to. And again, it's like he's so young, but it's like still so relatable as a 30 something year old who feels lost and confused in who she is sometimes still, which like sometimes come on, you gotta get it together. You're in your 30s now. But like it's so true. Like none of us know what we're doing. We're all
No.
still figuring it out. So it's nice to have the music along the way there to help guide that.
I will say I was being too hard on myself, and I was trying to think of something like better. So, okay, I will say the one that I will give right now, not that they're like a new band, but Balance and Composure, like their music has been hitting for me
Yeah.
recently. I literally on the plane coming to California, I was having a very bad travel day. And I had a window seat and was doing that thing where I'm just like thinking I can't say the word.
Existentially.
Yeah, about life, listening to Balancing Composure, and their new album. If you haven't listened to it yet,
Oh.
it's
So good.
so good.
Mm-hmm.
So
Oh.
yes, go listen to Balancing Composure.
Oh, yeah. So many people, I feel they're so underrated. When I heard Balance and Composure was coming back, I was so excited. And they played a show here at the Stone Pony. I believe it was the Stone Pony. I'm trying to think. There was somewhere in Asbury, but I went to
Mhm.
it. And I was on the fence of I didn't want to go. I didn't want to go alone. I was like, oh, and I was so happy because just seeing them and hearing the music, and they're always so special. It reminded me like what I was missing when they were gone. And then hearing
Mhm.
the record, I was like, this is just perfect. And I think they're still so slept on. I don't know why. I think people like us that love music know them, but I can't tell you how many people, like, I hate this. Like my friend Rob calls them normies, but I hate calling people normies. But like your normal music listener,
Yeah.
they're not gonna know them or they're not gonna dig into that. They know the Blink-182. They know even Paramore now or Fall Out Boy.
Mhm.
But I think I would love if we could have, I mean, of course, Balance and Composure is a sound of their own, but more music like that pushed. I would
Yeah.
love that because I get it. The mainstream stuff you do have to push, I get it. But just Balance and Composure, just sitting there in my room, I feel like that's such like an emo thing I'm about to say, but like the lights off or whatever, just like
Yeah.
absorbing their music or like a rainy day is like
hmm
it's everything. And they're so good. We
They're
need
so
more,
good.
again, go listen to Balance and Composure no matter what.
Yeah. Also, more shameless plugging. Citizen, another band,
Yes.
amazing, beautiful catalog, highly relatable. Turnover kind of lives in that balance and composure world.
Yeah.
And then the last one, Pianos Become the Thief.
Oh,
Keep You. That record, again, moment in time, got me through a lot. Love them so much.
oh, yeah. Nobody talked. I have yet to have anyone. I think I brought up Pianos Become the Teeth once, and nobody was like crickets. And I was like, okay, I think I made a mistake, but go listen to it. But like, even like, I know La Dispute is another one that's weird in there where some people aren't hit or miss. But I remember seeing Pianos Become the Teeth with La Dispute and just beautiful. Like, just, oh, you're speaking my language with Pianos Become the Teeth. And Citizen and all that. I'm like, that's my rainy day playlist. And
Yes.
oh my gosh. Oh, this has been so great to have you guys on and talk music. I would love to know if there's anything you can maybe give us like a forecast of what's to come with Cosmic Cadence. Where would you like it to go in this year? Is there any episodes you're looking forward to putting out? Like something you haven't got to tap, like a record you haven't gotten to tap into yet?
I'm gonna try and manifest as far to answer your question as where
Yeah.
we want to go. We are trying hard to get selected to record an episode at one of the Warped Tour dates this year.
Oh my
So
gosh.
if that comes to fruition, fingers crossed, that
Let's
would be amazing. That's kind of where we want to expand of like being able to bring this on the road and like
mm,
do more in-person interviews with people and talk through albums. So that's the big manifestation wish.
And I will say, I mean, this is like very, in the future, but we did actually we are big fans of manifestation. And
yeah.
when we were planning for the podcast, we sat down and we went through like a series of questions with each other of exactly that question of like, where do we both want this to go? Luckily, we were both on the same page, so we knew it was going to work out.
Yeah.
We definitely have a list of like, guests that we would love to talk to. Haley Williams, of course, being one,
Oh,
but there's
Number
so many
one.
people nowadays, like in the media, they're whether it's like a magazine interview or like social clips, like Haley, SZA, so many artists are talking about astrology, so we know that they are interested. Halsey as well, I love.
oh, oh my gosh. Yeah.
But so it's like there is an interest, and we would love to just have that platform because we've seen so like the Academy was gracious enough to share our podcast when
Mhm.
we posted that one. And it was just so nice like to hear the feedback of people saying, this is such a new concept and like this is exactly like I love music, I love astrology. Thank you for doing this. And that's, like I said before, like why we're doing it. So I think it's sometimes Matt, which I'm sure you feel as well. Like it is hard for a podcast when you're doing it all yourself. You're just, no real assets to work with. So
No.
like you have a good concept, but it's just a matter of getting it out there. And I will speak to that as well of like I think in the beginning it was really hard. And again, that's where I really appreciate G because I'm the one that's like, we're not getting the numbers. Like, what are we doing? Like I'm kind of moving it forward, but I also need to be reminded to like, it's fine. It's gonna take time, you know.
Right.
So I think that's the thing. I think that's what separates podcasts that succeed and ones that don't is like truly just choosing to move forward is hard because it can be very hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can be very hard. And like you said, like I've been in that space lately where I'm like, which I thought that Academias was amazing to have Johnny on too as well in the mix. Like my friend Ashley found that one because when I shared it, she was like, "This is such a cool concept. This is different. I've never would have thought of this." And I think those are also the podcasts, and it's very hard to, at least for me, when you look at different podcasts that maybe are your stereotypical just talking about emo music, and that's okay. That has a place. But then when you have a cool concept like yours or something and you put it up there and you work so hard at it and you have it and you're like, but why do they have all the numbers and this and that? And I know I'm like bringing something different to the table. Like, what do I need to do? And it's a weird headspace to get into because again, you should just be like, it will come. It's fine. Like I made a joke last week, like with some of my friends. I was like, man, this after laughter one bombed. Like this bombed. And like, and they're like, Lisa, that's okay. Like, did you enjoy it? Did you like to create that? Is that something you want? And I was like, yeah. I said, but it got in my head because like Spotify now is like putting the plays out, I guess, and like rolling out
Mm.
that feature. And that's all I heard was like, I was like, yeah, you're right. I need to get out of that headspace. I love this episode. I love this record. That's all that matters. It'll find its people. And I
Mhm.
just need to like, and you're right. That's the difference between the podcasts I think that succeed and then just fizzle out because they're like, oh, okay. Or this is hard work and I don't want to do this hard work, because I think everyone has a podcast. So I think that's what's hard too, is people think it's easy. But that's why I appreciate your podcast because it is different and it's bringing something different. And I think if more people dove into that, they would see that and be like, oh, this is actually, I'm learning something in this process too. Like, yeah, they're talking about this great record I love, but like, I'm learning about this and why it's the way it is and why maybe I'm the way I am if I resonate with it. So I think that's really cool.
And I
Yeah.
think
And
too, like
oh, go
as
ahead.
long oh, sorry. As long as it helps one person, like that for me, like already I feel accomplished in what we set out to do because we have had feedback of people saying like I really enjoyed this and
Yeah,
like that's kind of a crazy concept to I mean, because we're just doing it truly for fun.
same.
So to know that it has gotten out to like strangers, like and multiple strangers, it's actually a really heartwarming feeling. And I did want to say thank you to you as well because you were been so welcoming to us since day one. And I think it would have been honestly like a lot harder if we didn't have, your camaraderie in all of it. So thank you.
Oh my God. Yeah, I think it was Anoma from Haunter. I think he shared it. And when he shared it, I was like, what is this? I got to check this out. And if I'm wrong, oh my gosh, he's probably going to kill me or he's going to be like, no, but I think it is. But with him, I think that was really, really cool. And I was like, again, two ladies doing this. Okay, let me listen to this. This is really cool. I'm in that same ballpark of like a niche kind of thing, like music and mental health. So it's just different, and getting people to pay attention to that sometimes is like difficult. And I want to see everybody win. I'm that podcaster. I can't speak for all podcasts, but for me, I'm like, there's never a competition. I want to lift up everybody to be like, hey, you're doing something cool. So like I'm every week or every time I see a new episode, because on YouTube, I'll be like, okay, they have a new one. Like, what are they talking about now? Like, oh, all right, it's the Academy it's Turnstile, Lady Gaga. And it's like I can dive into this more and it's really cool.
I think that's so
Appreciate
true
that.
though. Like, we say that all the time because we're of that mindset as well. Like, I think that it can be a stereotype in a lot of industries of like, there can only be one woman or whatever. It's like it's so funny because once you really understand the concept, it's true that there is space for everyone, and the more that you shine, you help other people shine. And I just don't understand why people think there has to be competition because it's just like there's space for everyone.
Yeah, it kind of goes back to what we were talking about at the beginning of like having that imposter syndrome of everything being a boys' club and feeling like you don't belong. Like there's a million podcasts run by dudes and there's
Yeah.
space for them. So there's plenty of room for our podcasts and we can all support each other and have a lot more fun along the way.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. And I think the more other women or other people see that and that camaraderie, it's like they can be like, oh, okay, so this isn't a competition. Or, and I think maybe getting out of that mindset, especially in a world where like everything's a number. What are your numbers? What are you doing? At any time, like I'm asked, like in a pitch, like, what's your reach? And I have to think, like, listen, they're just doing their job. They want to make sure this artist is getting there. But it's like, it gets in my head where I'm like, oh, do I have enough reach? And like, then you get some people that'll say, oh, well, just, fib on your reach. I'm like, no, I never want to be that because then I'm being dishonest. I want to get this artist with my pitch because of who I am, with what the podcast is. Like, I never want to be that person. Like, again, we're doing this for fun and because we love it. So I think that shines, especially in yours or like other podcasts. Like, you're just doing it because you love it. And what comes with it is great. I hope you guys get that Warp Tour thing. That would be so amazing and just so cool to see at Warp Tour and you guys there getting to do that. And especially like talking about women and the lack of representation sometimes. Like Warp Tour back in the day, there wasn't a lot of that. So I would love Kevin Lyman. I don't know if you are gonna listen to this at all or you decide this, but do it. That would be amazing. And where I'll post all the links so everyone can find you. But if you just want to tell people like where are you guys? I know you're on YouTube, you're on Spotify, you're on Apple. Is there anywhere else people can find you?
Okay, so yes, we do have a link tree, which I will say not everything, but it's basically on socials. We are, I believe, Cosmic Cadence Pod at on most platforms. And yeah, you can listen on Spotify, Apple, iHeart, all of those. And those are like audio only, but then YouTube, we do try to have a video episode as well. So if you want both the audio and the video, YouTube is the place to go.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh, this has been so great. Like I'm like, oh, now I feel like I just want to hang out and like get coffee and like dive into the industry with you guys of like just and I just want to
Let's
see you
do
guys.
it.
Yeah, like I just wanted like wow, I feel so seen right now in this like Zoom room of just also being empowered to be like, listen, I should take those risks or take that because just being a woman or like later today when I'm on with that guy in that band and
I like to think like you wouldn't be in that position if it wasn't meant for you. You know what I mean? Like you
Mhm.
wouldn't be given the opportunity to be in that spot if it wasn't meant for you. So that's what I've been trying to tell myself recently.
Yeah, I need to do that and then just have that confidence. I don't know what it is. I need to like my friend Rob I was talking to when I was on their podcast and he was like, "Lisa, you need to have that confidence." I'm like, "I know, but I don't. I don't. I have the imposter syndrome and I'm like I have it. It's weird. Like I don't have it leading up to it, but during it I do, which I think is important like to have, but it's like and then after I'm like, what was I so worried about like a 30 minutes before? Like when I get the notification that we're having a meeting, like why am I like that 30 minutes before? But then like we're in there and I'm not even looking at any notes I have for them and we're like fine. But I don't know. I think it's something
I
you
think
just
I think it's important to be honest about that though, because I think that like literally everyone experienced or like most people experience that. And that was something
yeah.
for me too. Like it was always like you feel self-conscious about that, but then actually the more that you talk about it and you admit that and you're honest about it, you realize one, other people are that way, and two, it actually for me helped me not to say get rid of my social anxiety. I
Yeah.
definitely still, but I definitely grew more into who I am and I don't like berate myself about that as much anymore because I'm like it's a common experience, you know?
Hmm. Yeah. So now see, I needed this. See, I needed this. I woke up really tired. I had my coffee before this, and I feel like this is going to take me until later today at 5 when I'm sitting down and oh my gosh, yes. And now I got to dig into my astrology. I need to now see my Aquarius self.
Okay, but well,
Yes.
maybe we'll have you you'll come on our podcast and we will go.
Yes.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Oh my gosh, I would love to. That would be so much fun to like dig into that.
Get us the info and then
Okay.
start prepping, and we'll get you on our podcast and we'll go all the way through your chart.
Oh my God, this is so exciting because I'm like, I've wanted to dive into that. And I'm like, I just don't know. And like some people I talk to, like they're super into it. And I've never asked, right? To be fair, the people I know that are super into it, I've never like taken it. But like listening to your podcast and watching it, I'm like, maybe I should. Like, come on. Like I'm in my 30s now. Like this would be really cool to dive into myself. So, oh my gosh. So what information would you need? So obviously where I was born.
Yes, your full birth date with the
Okay.
date and year where you were born and the time.
I'm gonna ask my mom
And then the
later.
rest is up to
Oh
us.
my gosh, it's so exciting. Oh my God. I will be, as soon as I get that, I will let you know. And whenever you guys have time, I would absolutely love that. That would be so cool. Like, I love it. But oh my gosh, I'll let you guys get through the rest of your day and have a great Friday. And this was so much fun. I really appreciate you guys taking time for me.
Thank you. We appreciate you having us on. This has been so
Yes.
fun.
Yes.
And
Oh my.
we are technically all, I mean, I'm not right now, but we all are
Yes.
technically in New Jersey. So we have to meet up.
And all right, guys, that was my conversation with G and Kate. Again, this was such a conversation I needed at the right time. We're talking about the cosmic vibes. I really think there was something in the air because I had to reschedule, and G and Kate were amazing. But I think this was the right time in my life to sit down with them. And I can't thank them enough for all of their support to our podcast, but also just really adding something to the podcast world. And I think it's really, really great. So all links below, go check them out. I guarantee there is an episode you will love of theirs, if not all of theirs. I'd like to think you like them all, but there's links for that. As for our show, we will be back next week with another episode. You know the drill. New episodes every Tuesday with another great conversation. And if you are liking this show, remember to follow, subscribe to us. It would really mean a lot to me if you did that, as well as a positive rating and review. It really helps our show out. It is the easiest, wonderful thing you can do for any podcast, and I hope you do it for ours. But I will see you guys next week. All right, bye, guys.